Please welcome John Pickard, Principal, Pickard Chilton, and Byron Thurber, Senior Aviation Planner, Arup.
Good morning. Uber has positively transformed the world. And today, Uber Elevate is poised to connect individuals and unite communities across the globe. I am truly honored to return to the Uber Summit with my colleague Byron and to share the vision that we've created with the Arup Pickard Chilton team for what we've termed the Uber Sky Loft. As you can see, our team has earned an enviable reputation for taking on some of the very toughest design challenges across the planet. Last year, we were proud to help Uber transform, as John mentioned, that 10,000 person throughput into a compelling structure that could help them to solve the great success that we know Uber Elevate's going to achieve. And so today, we're delighted to take that vision and extend it a little bit. Of course, last year, we did anticipate that Uber would be announcing an international launch site, which they did as of yesterday, Melbourne. And part of our assignment for our team is to help take that on. So this is real. And 2023, as you're going to see in our presentation, we're trying to create a building that is actionable, that can protect the environment, and that's cost-effective, and that can create a compelling experience for all of the users. So you know we're going to start in Dallas, Los Angeles, and of course now in Melbourne. We've been charged with taking that and making sense of how to bring folks from the Melbourne International Airport to downtown. Both what you'll see is we're looking at a system built on the parking garage versus also a strategy that puts it on a greenfield site. I'm not going to waste your time too much on the program. You've heard it before, but suffice it to say, in addition to the kind of the base program, we believe it's essential to create a vital community that there are additional components. So Uber Eats is a part of it, the cafe, and all the things that will make this facility a part of the community. Today we're going to start, imagine if you will, we're going to be taking a journey into the Docklands area. It's immediately adjacent to downtown.
Thanks, John. So Arup was brought on board on this team to provide some technical expertise in the field of aviation planning as well as some of the engineering aspects of the project. So what I'd like to talk about is looking at this from an aviation technical standpoint. We want to assume that the eVTOLs will operate like helicopters until we have better information about how they'll actually operate. We're following helicopter guidelines both from the FAA and from ICAO. So the image you see here is showing the approach and departure flight paths. So we located the landing pads as far apart as possible, and under FAA standards, 200 feet will allow simultaneous independent operation. So you'll get the best efficiency from the site that way. The flight paths separated by at least 135 degrees, following the wind patterns. So we start with just an existing car park, and this is the program that we add to it. So we're putting the landing pads at opposite corners. We have a taxiway that goes all the way around that accesses every parking spot. So we have maximum flexibility to get from any landing pad to any parking spot. And then our program is added to the side of the building. We've done multiple retrofits of parking structures in the past and have found that often they're only designed to accommodate the parking that they're designed for, plus maybe one story. So we didn't want to put too much program on the top. Now, the top floor is basically like a miniature airport. So you have a waiting area, you have restrooms and other conveniences, and you also have a security check, just like you'd find in an airport. As a passenger, this is what you would see. You have a really nice wood structure. You're immediately adjacent to the aircraft, so you have a very short walk. We have colored walkways, so you'll know which one you're going to based on what your smartphone tells you. The lounge is very comfortable, and it's like the old days of aviation, where you could actually approach the aircraft directly, and you're not separated from them by a boarding bridge or anything like that. It's a very personal experience. You'll access this via an Uber ride, or possibly via Jump, the scooters or the bicycles. Now, there's also a cafe on the ground floor, as John mentioned earlier, for Uber Eats. So from the ground level, you'll have this very nice new facade to the garage that makes it much more pedestrian-friendly. We have some cafe seating. It's very approachable and inviting. You'll approach it on the ground floor. You'll check in, and only passengers will be allowed up in the elevator up to the lounge. And then we have the green light hub. So for the Uber driver partners who need a place to rest, get something to eat, recharge their own batteries personally, this is what their experience would be like. So we wanted the experience for the driver partners to be just as nice as it is for the passengers. So we have this nice lounge space built for them as well.
So Byron's talked about kind of how the building comes together, and I want to underscore, at the end of the day, the commitment that we need to make, Uber and their development partners, is really to the city. And I think this image talks about how we take a fundamentally bleak existing parking garage and engage it and bring those activities that are a part of this fabulous skyport to the city through the use of the cafes, and all those spaces engage it. Now let me talk about something that's very, very important, and that is Uber's commitment to sustainability. We are in a crisis, a global environmental crisis, and if we don't all take it on, the crisis will only get worse. And so the Arup Pickard Chilton team decided from day one that this project, in addition to solving all the primary goals that Uber had set, it needed to do the right thing environmentally. And so we've looked at, well, what can we do as designers? And this pie chart talks about the challenge that CO2 emissions have in advancing global warming. And there are components of that we can fix. The building industry chew up about 40% of that. But just the materiality that we might build this building out of, concrete or steel, which is what you've seen from most of the earlier schemes, that takes 8%. And so we said, well, can we build this building out of something else, something more magical? And we believe that material to be wood. Wood has gone through a transformation in the last decade, where with sustainable forestry practices and the advanced engineering, we can use strategies never before imagined. Obviously, it's highly sustainable. We can prefabricate it, which is going to help us reduce our production costs and control those costs. And at the end of the day, it's a biophilic material that we all feel compelled to embrace. So what we've done, and we'll move through this this is the gearhead stuff, move through it quickly, but we put a very sort of light timber truss system above that deck. We were confident that the capacity can handle that. Then on top of that, we put all the atypical program structures that want more generous ceiling height than that you get in a typical parking garage. We put that on the side. We have unique structures to support the T-lofts. Then we'll go ahead and we'll pour a thin concrete shell above the timber platform to create the flight deck. And we'll wrap it all in a high-performance enclosure. And then finally, we've created this elegant parasol. It's kind of a wooden parasol. And what it does is it protects the passengers from the heat of the sun and the rain, and it creates a beautiful experience as you're moving from the passenger terminal to your craft. But I think it also allows us a platform to do what's very important, is to generate power so we can get this facility as much as possible off the grid. So we've calculated that this design uses approximately 95,000 cubic feet of timber. And you say, well, what does that mean? It means that we can create a carbon offset of 3,000 metric tons. And you say, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything to me. This facility can take 650 internal combustion cars off the road. That's a big deal, and it gets better. So here you see just a glimpse of what this facility is and how special it can be within, frankly, and there was what's not been featured very much, there was a budgetary challenge that we've taken on very seriously. So our belief is we create a lot of architecture, a great user experience, and we protect that budget. So let's imagine, if you will, a trip back from the Docklands. Now we'll take a short flight back to the new facility that we've created at the International Airport. And here you can see the path that we're going to take. And then as you approach that facility, what you'll see is we're trying to leverage so that the design that you might have experienced in the Docklands feels similar in the Greenfield site. So the flight deck is virtually identical. And so what we do is we take the flight deck and we've lifted it up approximately 1 story in the air. That allows us to mitigate ground plane obstructions. It helps a little bit on the acoustics. And then we'll put all the program area, we've nestled that in under the flight deck. And then I guess this shows how we build it. Concrete slab on grade, the wood structure, the trusses, flight deck again, the facility. And then here, because the craft are a little closer to the ground, we're going to suggest that we spend a little bit of money and build a protective canopy that mitigates rotor wash and also protects against the rain. So this facility, like the earlier one, highly efficient, reduces the CO2 emissions. And you say, so here, we've got 1,300 cars approximately to bring off the road. And you say, well, maybe that doesn't matter. But I think the point that's significant is, as you think about the Uber Elevate network, this is just Melbourne. Just what's shown here, we have over 8,000 cars that are off the road. But if we apply this throughout the network across the globe, Uber Elevate can do their part to help us to mitigate this global crisis. And I think finally, what we want to focus in on is, yes, we have a beautiful structure. It's cost effective. It's going to create a compelling experience for the people that use it. But I think the thing that one must focus in on, and for me, the real gift of Uber Elevate, is the time that this network will give back to all of us. Instead of being caught in traffic, and it's approximately 55 to 60 minutes to get downtown from the airport, in 5 minutes in a VTOL, you're there. And we all live our lives, and we're scrambling for every second. And so this is a gift that's profound. I think this is the true gift of Uber Elevate. And now let me give you the extremely good news. Uber Elevate is closer, very, very much closer than you think. Thank you very much.